Good evening. Welcome to the Land Use and Building Management Committee meeting of August 7th. It is 7 o'clock. I will call the meeting to order. Roll call tonight. We have with us council members Heather Dunn, Nicole Eady, Greg Burnett, Jim Freyer, DeJuan Wiggins, and we are expecting Councilmember Nicole Ayers shortly. So we have a quorum. Next item on the agenda is acceptance of the minutes. Do we have, will someone move the minutes of last month's meeting, please? Ms. Dunn, are there any changes or corrections? All right, seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, please raise your hand. Okay, that's 4 in favor. Mr. Wiggins?
Abstain.
Okay, thank you. 5, that's actually 1, 2.
I'll abstain as well.
Okay, all right. So that's 4 in favor, 2 abstentions. All right, moving on to public participation. Is there anyone who is here who would like to speak?
Ms. Ball, you're unmuted.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we
Yes, we
can.
can.
Okay. My name is Betty Ball. I live at 10 Green Beach Drive in Norwalk, and I've been a resident of Norwalk for over 30 years. I'm here in support of renewing the lease for the Center for Contemporary Printmaking in the Carriage Barn in Matthews Park. I'm an artist and have been working in the studios at CCP for over 15 years. The Center for Contemporary Printmaking is the only full-service fine art print center between New York City and Boston. CCP really puts Norwalk on the map in the art world. Taking classes and working in the studios at CCP has helped me grow as an artist and in turn share my knowledge in community outreach programs here in Norwalk. I've met artists at CCP who have come to work from as far away as Louisiana and London. Artists from Fairfield County and Westchester County come regularly to work, and they stay to patronize Norwalk shops and restaurants. Art collectors from all over New England visit the center's exhibitions. Artist in residence programs attract artists from around the world. CCP's classes and outreach benefit Norwalk residents and contribute to the arts culture in Norwalk. As a member, I'm proud to have seen this establishment of the Grace Ross Shanley Memorial Scholarship Program, which is a fully funded 2-year scholarship program for talented high school juniors and seniors who come to CCP 1 day a week after school during 11th and 12th grade. In the first year, they're introduced to all the printmaking processes, and then the second year, they come back and have more familiarity with them so they can build a stronger portfolio to apply to art school. As seniors, they can also mentor the incoming juniors. We've had 24 students go through the program so far, and half of them from the Norwalk School District. These students graduate and go on to some of the most respected art schools in the country, including RISD, Pratt, Oberlin, and many more. Having the experience of learning from professional printmakers in a professional art studio environment, it's an experience that sets them apart from their peers and helps them stand out. I strongly encourage you to extend the Center for Contemporary Printmaking's lease so that CCP can continue to contribute to the community. And please come visit the center if you haven't seen it. Thanks for this opportunity to speak.
Thank you. Is there anyone else to speak? I did neglect to say to state your name and your just your name, and that would be fine. And you have 3 minutes to speak. And it looks like we have Brian Casper. Hi, Brian. Go ahead.
Hello. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
It's good to see some familiar faces and a pleasure to meet the others who I have not had a chance to meet. I have sent the following letter to Kimberly Hendrickson, the chair and of the Center for Contemporary Printmaking Center, but I'm here to read this into the public record. For those who don't know, my name is Brian Casper. I serve as chair of the Norwalk Arts and Cultural Commission, and I too am writing and speaking to express my unequivocal support for renewing the lease of the Carriage Barn in Matthews Park to the Center for Contemporary Printmaking, a vital cultural institution that Norwalk cannot afford to lose. The CCP is not only a cornerstone of Norwalk's cultural landscape, it is a nationally and internationally recognized leader in the world of printmaking. This year, CCP proudly celebrated its 30th anniversary game milestone that speaks volumes about its resilience, excellence, and deep roots in our community. Institutions with this kind of legacy do not thrive without steadfast support from their home city. Renewing CCP's lease is not just a show of support, it is a reaffirmation of Norwalk's commitment to the arts and maintaining the kind of vibrant, culturally rich community that draws visitors, fosters creativity, and attracts new residents. In a time when arts and cultural organizations are facing unprecedented challenges like budget cuts, closures, and diminished public support, Norwalk has an opportunity to set a powerful example. We must prioritize and protect spaces like CCP, which provide irreplaceable value, not only through exhibitions and programming, but also through education, mentorship, and preservation of the printmaking craft. As someone who studied printmaking in college, I was thrilled to discover an institution of CCP's caliber in Norwalk when I first moved here. CCP offers artists, students, and the public access to facilities, expertise, and a creative community that is rare, even in major metropolitan areas. To allow this space to be shuttered or displaced would be a profound loss, not just for the artistic community, but for Norwalk as a whole. CCP's proven leadership, outstanding track record, and broad cultural impact make it irreplaceable. Norwalk would be hard-pressed to find an organization of similar stature and benefit to fill this space. I urge you to consider the far-reaching implications of your decision and to renew CCP's lease so they may continue their essential work and legacy. I'm sure my opinion comes as no surprise to you. Thank you for taking the time to listen to what I have to say, and cheers. Good to see everybody.
Thank you, Brian. Who else is signed up who would like to speak? Rosemary.
Hi, my name is Rosemary Loraka. I was born and raised here in Norwalk, and I am the bookkeeper at Center for Contemporary Printmaking. And again, I would just like to put my support behind the renewal of our lease. Being the bookkeeper, I have a totally different look at how CCP operates and where we get our funding. And with the cuts that have been made, we have a very, very thin margin that we're keeping CCP open with. And if we do not get this, I don't see CCP's future being very bright. So again, I don't have anything written. I don't have, a long speech. I just want to verbalize my support.
Thank you, Rosemary. All right, who do we have next? All right. looks like
Ms.
Naomi.
Silverman, you're unmuted.
I think I am. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes,
we
we
can.
Okay. I also did not have anything written. I have been involved with CCP for 28 years in various capacities: artist, printmaker, board member, interim executive director for a while, all of those, and just all around, whatever you need a hand kind of person. The center is extremely important to me. It fills a need in Fairfield County. I have sent many of my young high school art students to participate in the Grace Shanley program. And many of them, and most of them, in fact, from the vicinity of Norwalk. It's a real important, vital service to the community, to the city. It increases its artistic presence along with, the various other things, and it would be a tremendous shame if it got lost. So just want to put my 2 cents in there.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, is there anyone else from the public? Looks like Sharon Sniffen.
Ms. Sniffen, you are unmuted.
Ms. Sniffen, you're unmuted on our side, but you'll need to unmute yourself on your end so that we can hear you.
There? Can you
There
hear
you
me
are.
now?
Yes, we can.
Well, I'm coming from a totally, hang on, I just got to turn this tea off, sorry. Sitting in my kitchen. I'm coming from a totally different perspective too. I am the daughter of Grace Ross Shanley. So I have been in the background, in the foreground, many different capacities of my mother's vision and my father's financial and support for CCP for 30 years, Silvermine before that, her integrity, her understanding of art, her belief that in a community, art is one of the most important aspects for education, for learning, for beauty, for community. You know, so many different levels of the importance of having such a space where people can come together to share not only their artistic endeavors, but their human endeavors, their personal endeavors. You know, art is such an expression of our human plight, our human feelings that we're going through, society, you know, whatever it is. You know, in a world where so much of that is being squashed or muted, you know, I feel that it's, you know, more than ever is needed as a space of where we can go and share our love of images and community and art. So, you know, I am now on the board. You know, my siblings and I it's a very, very important thing to us. So this lease is of utter importance to my mother has passed, my father has passed. And this is something that she had the foresight to see, and it's extremely important, like I said, on many levels for many people, for the community of Norwalk and beyond, to keep this going. So that's enough for me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Sniffen. And Lori Losto, I don't want to,
Lostetter.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I don't have anything written down either, except for some quick notes. I participate at NCC as a printing member, and I live in Norwalk on 397 Highland Avenue. And I was an instructor at NCC until I retired a couple years ago. And I'm an artist myself. I'm on the board at the Rowayton Art Center. CCP is just a joyous place. And someone has already mentioned that it's a hub for, they host international shows, and then it's a wonderful print center for the Northeast. And it's a very rare facility from my understanding. I'll be there on Friday. You guys can come and see me in the gallery. They have a fantastic miniature print show that's been up for a while, and it shows artists from all over the United States and maybe from abroad as well. I love that little pocket there in Norwalk that's developing into a cultural center with the Norwalk Art Space, the Arts Cafe, CCP, the museum there, the Discovery Museum, the mansion. It's just a rare, wonderful thing. The more we can create a culture in Norwalk and hold our cultural centers and hubs, the better it is for all of us. The staff there is just incredibly accomplished and amazing, and they work extremely hard, and it's a very welcoming location. I participate in their monathon and help try to raise some money for them each year by volunteering and doing some printing. And I also work a little bit on their outreach, which is their summer programs, and they welcome the community and all ages to come and try a variety of print mediums. And every once in a while I help with that. When I was at NCC, they had some exchange classes where the students, mine were 18, 19, 20-year-olds, and they would opt as an option. They could go and take a print class at CCP, which was enriching clearly and wonderful. And then I don't know if you guys are up to speed on this, but there's a lot of literature right now on community art gatherings and how healthy it is for individuals. And it raises us up out of depression, and it raises us up out of isolation. And this CCP is just a wonderful spot for connectivity and improved mental health and physical health that comes along with it. Can't say enough good things about CCP.
Thank you very much, Lori. Does not look like we have any other members of the public who would like to speak. We have Kimberly Henriksen here as a panelist. Kim, I'm going to ask you to, she's the executive director at Contemporary Center for Contemporary Printmaking. You're here as a panelist, so we'll have you answer questions when we get to the item on the agenda, if that's okay.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
Great. Okay. Okay, so seeing there is no one else, I'm going to go ahead and close public participation, but I do want to note that we also received a number of letters in support of the center of renewing the lease. Some members actually did speak tonight, but we do have a letter from Shannon O'Toole-Gianderco from the Norwalk Chamber of Commerce. Who else? We have one from Senator Bob Duff, Executive Director Susan Gilgore from the Lockwood Matthews Mansion, and from our Secretary of State, Stephanie Thomas, who is a resident here in Norwalk. So just wanted to note that. And so also, I would like to note that Councilmember Nicole Ayers joined the meeting at 7:04. Okay, so moving on to old business, we have no old business. Next item is new business. Item A, we are withdrawing from the agenda. And so we are going to move on now to B, public hearing. I think my agenda cut off, so I want to make sure I get the language right. Public hearing request for the naming of the new South Norwalk Elementary School in honor of Dr. Ruby Mae Foster Shaw. Do I have a motion, please? Okay, Mr. Freyer. So what we're doing tonight is simply, part of our process according to our ordinances regarding the naming of a city-owned building to move to a public hearing to name the school. Ruby Shaw's name has been moved forward by members of the community, by Council Member Darlene Young, who is not on this committee, but a resident of South Norwalk, and she's moved her name forward. And so in the backup, you have all of the information about the history of Ms. Shaw. I actually had met her personally. She was a resident of Village Creek and knew my husband's family quite well. So, any other discussion or questions? We are simply moving to a public hearing at our September meeting. Mr. Burnett.
Yeah. Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Great. I'm just curious as to the nothing against the candidate's name that came forward, just interesting in outlining the process. That school is in, the first time having a school in the South Norwalk area. Just want to understand publicly what the process is. How did we get community input? Did we get student input? So what was the process that kind of percolated to end up with this name? I know previously there were other names that were floated around. So just want to understand, how did we kind of end up with this name? Candidate, I should say.
Yeah, so this, Ellen, I am going to turn it over to you, but the way I understand what is going on here is we're going through our city ordinance process, that the Board of Education is also going to be going through a process. So Alan, I think you've been in more on those discussions, and so I'm going to turn that over to you.
Yeah, I think all we're doing tonight is really schedule a public hearing for most likely for next month land use meeting. Concurrently, the Board of Education is having their own conversation and public input in terms of a recommendation for naming of the building. So I think we're going in parallel path kind of thing to come up with the final decision. At some point becomes a common council decision to approve or not approve. So Board of Ed is going through that process, and I think they're starting similar to what we're starting right now, kind of thing. So that's all I have really. The process, how the Board of Ed is going to do is I do not know. Whether they will have just board member recommending, or I'm not sure how extensive of outreach they plan to do, but they are intended to do some type of community outreach in terms of building some consensus of this is what they want to do as well.
Yeah, and just to add, I know that there is going to be a grand opening scheduled, and we don't have that date yet, do we, Al?
I think we may have a tentative date, Joanne. I think I just heard it yesterday. I'm not leading the grand opening scheduling, but I think it's coming from Board of Education as well as the mayor's office. So I think it's October someday, Joanne.
Okay.
October 6th.
Yeah, and I think my understanding is it would be ideal if there can be an announcement that day of what the name of the school will be, and that's why you've got the concurrent processes going on here on the council level and with the Board of Education. Any other questions? Ms. Ayers?
Thank you, Chair. I actually knew Miss Ruby. She was good friends with my grandparents, and I was made aware of her contribution to our education system by some other educators, Mrs. Elmore and Miss Virgil, who are also great giants in our public school system. But I too kind of have questions, like my colleague, Mr. Burnett. Nothing against Miss Ruby, but I never heard any other names brought up. And not that we're not going to name it in her honor, but it would just, for full transparency, it would have been nice to know what the other names. I believe Mr. Burnett said he was aware of some, but I was not aware of any. Not to be shared with the public or anything, but is there any way that the committee could at least be aware of what other names were raised and why we kind of rested on Miss Ruby?
I had not been made aware of other names. Alan, let me ask you a question. If another name comes up, would we have another public hearing, for example, for that person? Say in October?
I don't know. Let me think about this. And it's kind of interesting, right? Because we as in, I guess, Councilwoman Ms. Young presented this name to us, and we put it on land use agenda. We are public hearing specifically for one specific person. So for some reason, I guess I don't have an answer for you, so I'll just be very frank about it. I think if the committee do decide to have a public hearing, schedule public hearing next month, is really for a specific name. We're not asking for submitting different names for consideration. It's about one person. So if the committee and after the public hearing decide not not to go with it, then I think we open up for new other possibilities.
Mhm.
But at this point, it's really one name is being put forth by a
Mhm.
member of the Common Council.
But
Mhm.
Alan, I'm sorry to interject. I think my issue is, and maybe I'm misunderstanding, so if I'm wrong, please correct me. My issue is you're stating that one of my colleagues raised the name. Were we all given that opportunity? Or did I miss something? It's been the summer, so anything is possible.
I do not know. I'm not involved in that. All I know is that I was asked to put forward this request onto a land use committee member between Councilwoman Young as well as the mayor. So that's what I'm doing. So I don't want to sound like I'm not involved in that process of coming up the name. So I do not know what other name might or might not have came up. So.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you, Alan.
And to also, to add, Ms. Ayers, my understanding is there had been discussions with Councilmember Young, the mayor, and the superintendent, but I have not been given, any particular details about that. So, and for me, considering it was, proposed to Alan, and it is our, from the city side, it is in the ordinance, the language in the ordinance is to move it along this way. So, Mr. Wiggins.
Yeah, I was really just gonna ask. I think you kind of answered the question, but who? Because I hear Greg and Nicole, Miss Ayers about the process, and I've been saying this since I got on the council. How this stuff happens, and how do we miss the mark of other people being involved in the process? So I was curious to know, like, well, you just said the mayor, Darlene, Miss Young, and who else? Who was a part of it? The conversation.
That I'm not, I believe that the superintendent was, that's my understanding. There were conversations, but I don't know any results of those conversations.
I see Tom Livingston here is
Yeah,
up, so maybe he
yeah,
can
the
answer.
chief of staff, exactly. He can add some detail
Well,
here.
I'll try. I mean, I'll tell you what I know. So,
Okay.
so this name came up, I guess, sort of from a number of sources, as I understand it. Both Darlene, and the mayor, as well as members of the clergy. I understand. I'm not sure, not all of them, of course, but some members of the clergy had also brought it up. This has been discussed with the Board of Education. They were in favor of it as well, and the reason for bringing it up now, of course, is to have the public hearing, as Ms. Smith said, ideally to have this approved by the opening. But I can't tell you other names considered. I'm just telling you sort of the facts as I know them and how we got to here now. Hope that helps.
So no one's really knows. So we're just here now, heading to a public hearing.
Well, when you say no one knows, I guess that's true in a sense. As I said, there are a number of people who came up independently with the same name, I understand. But look, I hear your point.
Yeah, yeah. And if, I mean, we can decide here tonight if we want to move it to a public hearing. And, essentially, there's no harm in that, right? There's no decision being made. We are not voting on the name at all tonight, so we can choose to do that. And with the expectation that the Board of Ed is running concurrently with their process, or we could table it.
If I might,
I think the question really is, is when do we want to name this school? And yeah, so go ahead, Tom, you had something.
yeah, I mean, if I might, I mean, so the Board of Education is going through their process,
Mhm.
and by keeping it on the agenda now, you keep the option open
Mhm.
to be able to approve this if the council and committee so agree.
Yeah.
You'll be able to move after the Board of Education does, and so you won't have lost any time. And again, maybe you know, maybe it's a wishful thinking to have it done by the time the school opens. It's just sort of a nice thing to have, you know, the kids come into a school, brand new school with a name of such a respected scholar. But I'll leave that to you all.
Okay, thanks. Mr. Frere?
Yeah, just for a little bit further clarification of this. Do we then have the final approval of the name? Are we responsible for approving that name that's when it goes on to go on the school? I mean, after this public hearing, is it up to us to vote on it?
Yes,
So we have the final say.
We
right.
do,
Okay,
as per our ordinances.
okay. And we can, somebody else could possibly bring up another name during the hearing, perhaps.
Yeah, it's interesting that you know, this being the first new school in 40 years, or South Norwalk in 40 years, but I think the first new school in the city in many years. I mean, I don't think there has been a formal process on this, which may explain some of the uncertainty in this. There isn't the guidelines other than the naming process and the ordinance, but and that's why we are where we are.
And it's a name as opposed to a Ben Franklin, let's say.
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
And that's a name too, but when was that named? We don't know. Ms. Dunn?
Hi, my question is why is there a push to do this as opposed to just calling it the South Norwalk School or the Sono School, like, or Sono Elementary? Is it something that we were intending to do from the beginning? Is it something that we're trying to do is name all the schools that are not place names?
I don't know that I can answer that.
If we don't approve this, is it just the Sono Elementary or otherwise?
I think it's always been the intention of the Board of Education to name the school. You know, they had Columbus and then
Well, we also have Cranberry Elementary, we have Silver Mine.
yeah, and Cranberry, that replaced the Cranberry, right? And but there hasn't been, to my knowledge, a naming of a school in the recent history.
So will there
but
then
but to your point, I understand that there's a desire to name the school just, you know, sort of as an inspiration, right?
So then my question is, are we pushing to rename the other schools as well that are place names as opposed to after people?
I'm not aware of that.
Okay.
Ms. Ayers?
I wanted to speak to my colleague, Ms. Dunn, when she said, what is the need to name this particular school? I agree with the urgency of naming this school only because of the city's historical position of getting this school. This was a journey, and it was a journey for a community of people. Some of the people who started the fight of this journey are no longer with us. And I can think of 2, 3 names right off the top of my head. So I think it is appropriate to name this school. I don't think we need to be naming all of our school. Cranberry is Cranberry. Like it's fine. But for me, naming this particular school really speaks to the journey of how we got there. And so, and understanding the contribution of Miss Ruby, again, this for me is not about the name. It's about how the name came about and where was the transparency and where were the rest of us in conversation with the name. Now, a position could be had, the conversation will be at public participation. That could be, but as someone that's sitting in this seat, this is the first time I'm hearing, seeing, and knowing that that is going to be the name or potentially could be the name. So there is a urgency to name this school. And it also speaks to the contribution of Black educators who have been monumental in the development and the procurement and the achievement of all of our students. So I'm okay with the naming of the school. I'm not so okay with how we got here, but I could be okay within 30 days. I'm gonna be honest, I can be okay within 30 days. It just seems as if we're late to the party and we're all trying to catch up, but we all don't have the same information. And I don't think that this is any point at Mr. Lowe or his committee, but we need to address how this is happening. And as the chief of staff has said, this is the first new school in 40 years. So I know I wasn't here 40 years ago. I would have been 5. So most of us were not here, and we're all walking kind of blindly through this. But I know when we were talking about the renaming of the field at City Hall, when we were talking about the naming of the courtyard at the golf course, I can't think of the name right. Oak Hill. I was about to say Charter Oaks. Oak Hill. This committee had more discussion around it and had more of a say around it than what I feel like is being brought to us this evening.
Yeah, and and I hear that, and I think it's just because it is a new school, right? It's uncharted territory for us. So we are feeling our way through it, but it is something that we do need to collaborate with the Board of Education on this, because it is a school. And I think, I really, Nikki, I want to thank you for your comments about, the importance of naming this particular school and the history, of what our South Norwalk kids, have essentially had to endure by, being bused, all over town, and, the importance of this community school for the South Norwalk community is really, really important. And I think, I think about, Ms. Shaw, being so instrumental in the Columbus Magnet School, being, such a, like you said, I mean, just a titan of a Black educator here in Norwalk. So it does seem so appropriate that we're talking about her name, but it's we do need to consider the other possibilities. Mr. Freyer.
Yeah, thank you. I think Nicole was on to something there. I have lived in Norwalk for about 49 years, so I do go back a little ways. But I don't recall whether she was involved in advocating a school in South Norwalk. So maybe Ms. Ayers could explain that to me, or some of the early efforts. Was Dr. Shaw involved in any of those efforts early on? That would this would be a fulfillment of her wishes at some point in time that we know of.
Oh, I cannot answer that.
I think that I love her background. She comes from the same neighborhood that I came from in Jamaica, Queens, and whether she followed me or I followed her to Norwalk, I'm not quite sure. But I think it would be really appropriate if she was instrumental in trying to or advocated at some point in time for a South Norwalk elementary school. I know she was on the Ettinger board. My daughter was an Ettinger scholar, so my daughter probably knows her. So it's not inappropriate to name it that, but it is kind of a change in the way we've always handled things. But it would be interesting to find out whether she was instrumental in advocating for a school in South Norwalk, which would make it even more compelling to name the school after her, if that was the case. But we'll find out.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm going off of what you referred to, Ms. Ayers, in 30 days you can get there. I think that let's vote on scheduling the public hearing. We'll have a lot more information by next month, we'll have more input from the Board of Education on where they're at in their process. So I am going to go ahead and call for the vote to schedule the public hearing for this September, let me get the exact date, the September 9 meeting. All in favor, please raise your hand. All right, oh, I can't see it. Okay, that appears to be unanimous. Oh, Ms. Dunn?
I'm gonna vote no. I'd rather put it off 30 days till the kids are in school.
Okay. All right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in favor, 1 against. All right. Okay, moving on to our next item. C, authorize the mayor, Harry W. Rilling, to execute an amendment to the lease agreement with the Center for Contemporary Printmaking, Inc. to extend the lease for the Carriage House and Gardener's Cottage retroactively for 10 years from February 1st, 2025 to January 31, 2035, the remaining terms of the lease to remain unchanged. Will someone please move? Okay, Mr. Freyer moves that. We heard quite a bit from the public around the importance of the Center for Contemporary Printmaking here in the community. And so, Alan, I'm just going to turn it over to you to just give some more background. We do have a lot in our backup about all of the investments that that they have done and the maintenance that they take care of. So I'm just going to turn it over to you.
Sure. Thank you. Yeah, just a little bit of history. The facility that currently the printmaking occupies at Matthews Park is we consider that's the old carriage house, and behind it there's a gardener's cottage. Back in the 90s, when the city hall was renovated back in 1986, 1987. DPW was used to be in that carriage house. So when we renovated the used to be the old Norwalk High School into the current City Hall, they moved into City Hall, and that building became vacant back since the 1987 or so. So it was empty for a number of years. And so I'm dating myself a little bit. Me and Grace sit down together and work out this lease arrangement between the city and they were called differently. They weren't called Contemporary Center of Contemporary Printmaking back then. But I sat down with her, and I forgot somebody else too. We sat down together and developed this lease arrangement, and Grace was raising private money to do all the renovation. The city did not put any money into that building. The way I structured the lease, this is a single tenant use building. I structured it so that the city does not get involved into maintenance and repair and operating expenses for the building. So printmaking actually pay for all the utility. So the account is not with the city. So they pay directly for all the utility expenses. And also they are responsible for equipment maintenance, boiler, repair, air conditioning, maintenance and repair and replacement of it. That's why the lease was structured for $1 a year, because there's no operating costs coming from the city. They are fully responsible for all repair and maintenance, and also capital replacement too. And the only thing they're not responsible for is capital replacement of structure. So if we need a new roof or it's a stone building, so it's not like the stone doesn't really deteriorate kind of thing, but the windows may be, and also the roof. The general speaking, those are two elements that needs long-term capital costs, which they are not responsible. Other than that, they are fully responsible for the building. And I guess the sewer line coming to the building, the city will have some responsibility. Other than that, it's so unlike other leases with city, where the city pay for building management, got service equipment, take care of different things, and pay utilities and all that. This building, we don't even have an operating budget account for this building. So therefore, the lease is 1 year. And the reason why we did, like originally, I think it's a 10-year lease, and then we extended for another 10 and another 10. It's really we wanted to give the opportunity for printmaking to recover their capital improvement costs, because the building was deteriorated to a point that there was structural repair needed, especially the gardener's cottage. The gardener's cottage really like more than just abandoned. It was actually like falling apart kind of thing. So there was substantial money put into the building to renovate it. So I guess in a way, the ways the lease was structured is so that they can recoup capital costs, and also at the long term, they are covering and paying for all the operating expenses for the building, and the city does not have to contribute anything. And on the reverse side, the city is getting a art facility that's very recognizable in Fairfield County and in the region. So basically, what I'm requesting the committee and the common council to do, extend the lease. All term will remain the same, except that we will extend for 10 more years. That's what's in front of you. Thank you.
Thanks, Alan. Questions or comments? Mr. Freyer.
So Alan, is this similar to like the Golf Authority, where the Golf Authority pays the city $1 a year and they then take care of all of the infrastructure, all of the grounds, and maintain it, and keep any of the profits they get, they pour back into the golf course? Is that the same type of arrangement we have here?
I gotta think about this. You talk about the Oak Hills Golf Course.
Yeah. The Golf Authority decided probably about 30 years ago, 35 years ago. It used to be run by Parks and Rec, and
Right.
decided that they wanted to turn it into a golf authority, and they they rented it from the city and did all the maintenance and turned it around and turned it into a very, very nice, well thought of in Fairfield County. It's one of the best golf courses in Fairfield County today. They keep all the profits that they get from the golf course, from the tennis courts, from the nature center that they have there, and maintain it. The only exception was when they built the restaurant. The city went to bonding to provide funds for the purchase of, or for the building of the restaurant, which now is, I think it was about $2 million, and they're probably down to about $1 million that they have left to pay off.
I think a couple of fundamental difference. The first one is that the Oak Hills Authority, I'm not sure quasi-city is the right term. I mean, it's a separate entity, but it's actually created by the city as an authority. But then we do have some relationship with them, just like what you said. Financially, the city could support them.
No, but the city doesn't support them. There was this one exception where they built and that was under Alex Knopf when he was mayor. And they decided that they wanted to, I don't want to put words in, I don't want to say this the wrong way, but he was an advocate of getting the restaurant in there. And so that's an exception. So every other building they do, building maintenance, everything is just all part of the Golf Authority. But they keep all the money that comes in.
Right. In terms of what I meant was from a capital perspective, the city actually funded the construction of the restaurant, and they paid debt service to the city. So in a way, there's a support, not from an operating perspective, but in terms of capital investment into the property, the city had the ability to continue to do that, and then work out a agreement for payment of those debt services for the construction of the restaurant.
But it was just for that restaurant. Every other building, all the other capital improvements, or walkways, etc., are all under the responsibility of the authority, and they have to finance that out of their funds, not funds from the city.
And also the other thing that I believe, I haven't read the lease agreement between the city and Oak Hills Park recently. I believe the city has some. I mean, they come to board estimate to present their financial situation and stuff like that, as well as I believe we have input in the fee structure somewhat. I don't remember exactly.
They hold their own they determine what their fees are gonna be.
Okay,
It's basically the same as the WPCA.
right.
But
Because
the,
the
I
authority,
think that's the difference here is you have an authority, you have the Oak Hills
Yeah.
Authority, you have,
Yeah.
water pollution control. It operates, it's different than a
Doesn't
lease
sound
that
too
we have.
much different.
Right.
That's why I'm
It's a
asking the
completely-
question. It doesn't
completely
They have
sound
a
different
board of
different.
consideration.
directors, their own board. So, Mr. Burnett, did you want to, you like are so, you have
Barbara,
so
I
much
have my
depth of
hands
knowledge
up
with.
though.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
I was just gonna
Crazy.
add, I was
My
just going
my
to,
hands up.
I'm sorry, Mr. Wiggins. It's just Mr. Burnett can respond directly to Mr. Freier's questions because of his working with Oak Hill so closely as finance chair. I'll
right,
get to
thank
you.
you.
I promise.
I was just gonna quickly comment that, Oak Hills does meet on a monthly basis with the Finance and Claims Committee. They do share their annual budget with the Finance and Claims Committee. They do review their payment on the loan that the city has provided to them on a monthly basis. So there is a financial difference. And they're the only authority that reports to on a monthly basis to the Finance and Claims Committee. The WPCA does bring to us their budget as well, but that's, once a year for our review and approval. So I just want to share that. So there is a difference between how Oak Hills Park Authority operates versus, I think, the item that's on the table currently.
Thank you. Mr. Wiggins.
Thank you, Chair. So to me, I think 10 years is a little too much. I'll definitely be comfortable with 5. I think the city and we have a problem, a serious problem, in my opinion, to not having a process just like before. And I remember I challenged Alan when I first got on the council how this stuff really works. And why is it not like an RFP process where other people can have an opportunity to present what they have? Me personally, I just don't think it's fair. I think we have to open things up for other people as well, or other companies, or seeing what could be best for the city. And 10 years to me is just a very long time. Yeah, that's really what I have to say. I'm willing to do, commit to 5 years, but 10 years to me is just too long.
This is they've been there since 1995, quite some time, and we have had a series of 10-year leases for them, and they've invested so much in the building. Alan, did you want to add anything there?
No, I think that the common Councilor Wiggins mentioned it's somewhat personal perspective in terms of how long a lease should be. I think it's sometimes when we do a lease, the length of a lease, sometimes it depends on the investment of the tenant. I mean, I think for the years they invested money in it, and I would think that it's depreciated in terms of investment on it. So the length of lease really it's subjective in some way, whether it's 5 years, 7 years, 10 years. But I think the council committee and the common council would assess the length of lease based on their contribution and the service to the community, the value of it, and then whether with the city really going to go out and look for another tenant. And I think those are the purview of the committee and the common council to discuss.
I disagree with the personal thing, Alan. It's not about being personal. It's not a personal thing. I think it's, once again, it's about process for me. And I just think we have a history of just not having a process. And I get it, right? And I don't think that even if the lease was 5 and we come back in 5 years and when we say, extend it again, it'll be fine. But it's just there just isn't everything is just come to the council, no RFP, no other considerations, and this is kind of just what it is. And that's just what I see from just being on this council for the last 2 years. That it's nothing personal. I mean, I think I read a little bit up on them, and I think it's a great company and they're doing great work. I'm just challenging the process. It's nothing personal.
Thank you, Mr. Wiggins. I'm gonna let Ms. Dunn go. Mr. Frayer, she hasn't had a chance to speak yet, and then I'll come back to you.
I'm gonna go on and on forever, Jim. No, I just really want to say that it is such a valuable component of our community. CCP is something that is really important. I mean, without it, it would change the dynamics of who we are. And I understand what Mr. Wiggins is saying, but as nonprofits, it's very hard to plan for things like that, that there's not an automatic bringing in money all the time. The value is really on what you can give people to the community. And as someone who's had to write grants and stuff like that for nonprofits, it's very hard, and you do need that long-term goal planning. And all boards do need to have the ability to project what's coming when they're writing grants. So that's why I'd be in favor of it. So
Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Frayer.
Thank you. My point about the Golf Authority, and I'm sorry we got involved in the nitty-gritty about that, but the concept is that we've got a golf course out there that has people that are running the golf course, and it's a really very valuable gem in Norwalk. CCP is a gem in Norwalk, and to limit them to a 10-year lease, to me, and renew it every 10 years, seems a little short-sighted. I don't think that, and listening to some of the people talk about it, it's going to be around for a while. If anything, it's getting more and more popular. There's no reason why we couldn't give them a longer lease, I think, similar to a golf authority, where if we wanted to, let them come and review their financials with us once a year, like the WPCA. But I think this is something, nothing else is going to, there's nobody else banging on the door saying, we want to rent this property. We've got a better idea to put something in here. I think this is something that we can grow even more and not have a 10-year lease hanging over their head all the time. So I'd be more in favor for the 30-year lease, for that matter, rather than a 10-year lease. So it's designed for one thing. It's an asset to the city, and I certainly will vote yes on this, but I think we ought to explore a longer term relationship, and it becomes a part of the city.
Yeah, and what we have before us is renewing a 10-year lease. And Ms. Dunn, I do really agree with you that this is such an important asset to the city. And I look at the whole Lockwood Matthews Mansion, it's open again after such a long renovation, and the whole Matthews Park is just it's just the scene of our cultural, art and cultural community. And it's really, really valuable to the city. And I think it's important that, from my perspective, that we support them. I'm going to go to Ms. Ayers, Mr. Wiggins, because she hasn't had a chance to speak on this yet.
Thank you. I'm in the car, so I'm going in and out, so I apologize. First of all, I want to say we often get into discussion, which is very important, but I think we need to say thank you for the partnership. Thank
Mhm.
you for the commitment to arts, because unfortunately in other areas we've had to make cuts in arts, but I really want to take the opportunity to say thank you. I know the executive director is on. I'm sure Alan does not have this question. It was not in the backup, but it wouldn't be in the backup. It's just how my mind kind of works. Is there any dollar amount that we are aware of? Maybe the executive director could assist us with this, of since 1995, of all of the capital improvements they have made to that space or the upkeep. Do we have a dollar amount on that?
Hello.
Ms. Hendricks. Yeah, go ahead, Ms. Hendricks.
Okay, thank you very much. I had also prepared in the materials for the meeting our startup costs as well as our investment costs over the last 30 years. And in this time, the startup costs for the main building and the cottage totaled over $700,000. Then various investment costs over the years, including lighting, HVAC, asbestos abatement, security system, hot water heaters, those have totaled over $163,000. So those are investments that we pay for in the building, and those are outside of our regular maintenance costs, like snow removal and the landscaping, as well as utilities, things like that. So these are the things that we are putting into the building as part of our lease agreement.
So sorry, I don't know why I can't find that in my backup, but it might just be me. I do apologize if you had given us that information and I'm not able to pull it. I asked that question because we can't afford that. We cannot afford to make that investment. But because you have partnered with us, we are able to provide a needed service to the community. And so I think sometimes we need to hear that. We need to hear the investments of our nonprofit, our arts community. And we really need to realize that the city could not make that investment at that level, maybe at that time, but because of the partnership, we are able to do that. So again, I would just to say thank you. I'm an artsy person. I love art. So I would just like to say thank you. And I think it's important for the public to hear that that is what the investment has been over the last 30 years.
Thank you for asking to confirm that question.
Thank you, Ms. Ayers. And Mr. Wiggins, did you?
Yes.
have-
Hey, Kimberly. So, quick question: do you guys receive funding from the city of Norwalk?
Other than the building, no.
Okay, and that's helpful as well.
Yeah.
Okay, are there any further comments or questions? Oh, go ahead, Ms. Dunn.
One more thing from me is that I really appreciate that the building is kept and you get a sense of history. And, you know, it's not like somebody came in and said, we need it and we're gonna gut the inside and make it something that it's not. The preservation aspect of it, I truly appreciate too. So thank you for that.
I must say I agree. It's just a beautiful, beautiful building. Really important to the history of Norwalk. All right, I'm going to go ahead and call for the vote. All in favor, please raise your hand. Oh, that's unanimous. Awesome. Beautiful. Thank you so much. All righty. And congratulations. 10 more years.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you for
I'm
joining
sorry,
us.
it will go to Common Council, I believe
Yeah.
it's next week.
Oh, yeah, of course,
Is it next week or week after? I forgot.
Yeah.
Maybe,
Okay.
maybe we could make it 20 by then.
It's next week.
All right, moving on to item D. Authorize the mayor, Harry W. Rilling, to execute a contract with AV Tucci Builders, Inc. for the replacement of the apparatus floor of Broad River Fire Station, Station 1, located at 90 New Canaan Avenue, for amount not to exceed $604,723, account number noted. Authorize a 10% change order contingency allowance for a total not to exceed $60,472, account number noted. Will someone please move that? Mr. Burnett, thank you very much. We know that, there was an emergency with the floor of of Station 1, and there was a special appropriation given a couple of months ago. So Chief Gatto, I'm going to turn it over to you to give us some details.
Okay, so I know you have a very large agenda tonight. I'm going to give you the really condensed version. This project, well, first of all, the building is built in 1961. It's original apparatus floor. It's over 3,300 square feet. It's a 3-bay garage drive-through. You would leave the building, New Canaan Avenue side, and you come in on Silvermine Avenue side. When the trucks go in and out, the apparatus floor was flexing. It was deemed to be an emergency repair through the building department, Bill Ireland. I believe Alan was also involved in it at the very beginning. So through phase 1, engineering contractor was hired to do test samples. There were 3 different options. The option that was picked is the least amount of disturbance to the building. It's also because we could relocate our truck company. We shortened the project from 4 phases to 2 phases. And also they took off $31,000 deduction in the initial cost. So the contractor was chosen by the geotechnical engineer, approved by Sharon Connors, the purchasing agent. So basically what we're doing tonight is requesting the second part, which is phase 2, to authorize, the contract to AV Tucci for that amount. I have a bunch of other stats if you want to hear them.
Okay, well, let's wait and see what questions we have. Thanks, Chief. Are there any questions or comments here? Mr. Burnett.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The only question I had, I've been briefed on this because this item did go through the Finance and Claims Committee, is with this particular contract for the actual work to be done, do we receive any type of guarantee or is it the work is done and that's it? If there's any further problem, it's not the responsibility of the builder. What kind of guarantees do we get with this particular vendor?
Okay. The only guarantee I'm aware of is the fact that it's guaranteed through the geotechnical environmental contractors. Those are the engineers that gave us those 3 options. The option that we picked is guaranteed by them. So I don't exactly know if God forbid, if something happened, who'd be responsible, but they do guarantee it. I would imagine it's between the AV Tucci and the engineering contractor. But I don't have, if you're looking for an actual warranty like you would if you bought a car in writing, I don't have that in front of me. I do have a contract from AV Tucci. I don't really see anything relating to a warranty though in his breakdown. I mean, they're a very reputable company. They do a lot of work for the city. I don't really anticipate any problems.
Right. I'm just questioning because of the constant wear and tear of the flooring and the work that's being done, do they offer any kind of assurances that, even with the natural use of the floor, that they stand behind their work for, the floor is going to be solid for the next 5 years, 10 years, whatever. That hasn't been discussed or hasn't come up?
I wish Mark, the assistant chief, who's been handling this project, is in Italy right now. So I'm just trying to read his notes. This pile supported slab, which is this part of the project that we chose, is the the only one that they're really guaranteed. The other ones, it would be, there's too much excavation and they didn't really know the cost and what it would be until they really dug out a whole bunch of soil. The other option was to partial excavate and replace the structural fill. So take this dirt out and put dirt in, basically. And there is no guarantee that that would really hold up. These piles, which are driven into the soil about 25 feet deep with iron like mats put over it, and then X amount of inches of concrete is put over that. That is guaranteed by the engineered certified repair. That was the one that we chose.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Welcome.
Mr. Frayer.
Did they give a life expectancy of how long this will last?
I don't know. I mean, they might have. I don't know, to be honest with you. I don't, I could get all that information, but it's basically what the work that they're gonna do and how much they're gonna charge. It doesn't really say what, I mean, concrete floor, the original concrete floor, look at it now, was built in 1961. And that was even built on really bad soil. So now we're doing something that should last a lot longer than the building, engineering wise.
Yeah, well, when they built the building in 1961, they probably said it was going to last 100 years. But to Mr. Burnett's point, we're spending a lot of money, and is there going to be an inspection done by structural engineer when the work is done?
Well, yeah, there has to be. They've applied for all the permits. However, whatever the building department deems necessary to go over there, I'm sure they're going to do that because they applied for the permits. There's some electrical work that needs to be done. There's general demolition work that needs to be done. So all the permits have been applied for, as far as I know.
Is there a surety bond involved in this?
I don't know. I can't answer that. I don't know.
That's kind of important, because if something happens, if Tucci can't finish it, then we're going to be left with a hole in the floor.
Tucci is a licensed company, and they've done a good amount of work in the city, as Chief Gatto has mentioned. I'm not aware of any complaints about them and all of the years they've
Then they wouldn't have any. Then they wouldn't have. I'm sorry, but then they wouldn't have any problem getting a surety bond. But we should have surety bonds on any kind of construction that we have in the city.
Chief, I'd like to ask, when do you expect to start, and what is the urgency? And how long do you expect to have the station down where you've got to, you're not gonna have trucks there?
Well, there is one, engine one will be there during the construction. The truck, we will move out of there and go to Fairfield Avenue. The worst case scenario would be about 3 months.
Okay.
The best case would be 2 months or less. Depends on what they find when they, get in there.
Any other questions? I mean, this is a project that needs to get done. We've been. Yeah, it needs to get done. And so, we followed it through the special appropriation process, through finance and claims, the BET. And here we are with the contract. So I'm going to call for the vote. All in favor, please raise your hand. Three, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Opposed. 1. Abstains. 2 abstentions. All right, so we have
No.
4 and, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mr. Burnett.
No, I'm not an extension. I was, I'm sorry. I
You were
should wait
yes,
till
yeah.
after the vote. I do have just a closing
Sure,
comment.
okay. Okay, so I believe that count then was 5 in favor, 1 opposed. Is that correct? I believe.
And one,
Okay.
one abstention.
And 1
please.
abstention. Okay. Okay, so that passes. Mr. Burnett.
Yes, my comment is to the chief that if possible, before the common council meeting, when this goes to a final review and approval, if we could possibly get the answers to some of the questions that was posed here. I know the deputy chief is away, but now that we've had this meeting and questions have come out, maybe he can provide answers that we can get before the council meeting
Right.
as it
He'll be back.
relates
He'll be
to.
back Monday.
Oh, okay, so that'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if we can
Other
get,
than the surety bond, you also asked if there was written warranties.
right, some kind of guarantee with on the floor, life expectancy, those types of questions.
Okay. I will do my best.
Okay.
Thank you.
Chief, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, everybody, and have a good night.
You too.
Thanks, Chief.
All right, moving on to item E. Authorize the purchasing agent to issue a purchase order with Ambient AI Inc. for AI security camera enhancements at the middle and elementary schools for a total not to exceed $263,916. Funds are available and account numbers noted. Do I have a motion, please? Ms. Edie, thank you very much. I see we have Ryan Harold here from NPS. Are you going to take this, Ryan?
Hey, Barbara.
There
John's
you are.
actually gonna lead this one. He's on the call as well.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Hi, Jonathan. Go ahead.
Hi, everybody. How you doing tonight?
Okay. Good, thank you.
So I know that you guys have already had the statement given to you as well. The ambient AI system that we've piloted at the 2 high schools, we've been working with them very closely for a couple months now, and we're ready to roll it out into all the middle school and elementary schools so that every school now in Norwalk will have the same coverage that the 2 high schools have had during the pilot.
Can I just ask, what have you found the benefit at the high school level?
So the beauty of this, and it's already been installed in many schools around the country, is that AI never sleeps. It is constantly monitoring every camera at all times, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, to the exact specifications that you want it to, things that you're looking for. Stuff as simple as slips and falls. We did have a situation not that long ago where it did catch somebody falling, where we were able to get attention to them much faster than it would normally have taken if somebody would have had to wait to be found. It's security. It catches prop doors. It catches large groups gathering, any violence that may occur in a crowd setting, people loitering, people trespassing, and then your basic smoke and fire. All these things are constantly being monitored 24 hours a day, 7 days a week by AI. As where if it was just a human looking at the camera, chance of it, human error and it missing is pretty substantial. So the fact that it monitors it all the time has been absolutely wonderful.
Thank you. Ms. Ayers.
My question is, I'm forgetting at this moment, but the system is connected to the police department, correct?
Can you repeat the question? I'm sorry, you broke up a little bit.
I'm sorry. The system is connected to the police department, correct?
Well, as of right now, it is, it's being monitored.
You're breaking up too, Ryan, or Jonathan, sorry. We're having a connection problem.
They are getting alerts as
There you
well,
go.
So I think
in lots of ways. But yes, the police are involved.
so. My follow-up question is: in all of our schools, or not all of our schools, and many of our high school and middle school, we have SOR officers that are on some type of rotation. Are they, I know AI is alerting people, but in real time, how do these alerts happen?
So when basically what the system does is it's programmed for specific, it's looking for specific things, like take a door being propped open, for example. When it does that, the people who have been specified to get the alert that there's a door propped open get the alert. Or when you review the footage, you can see it yourself too.
So is this alert like it's a computer alert? It's sent to their phone? Like I'm
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, now I understand your question. So basically, it's through its own system. It's a cloud-based system that is basically just works with the camera security system that we have installed right now. So it's really just in addition to our own security system that we've had for a number of years now. It's a computer program that looks for specific things and can alert you about it in real time, either through your computer, through your phone. It's through their ambient system, cloud-based system.
And what's before us is for the system or the cameras?
I'm sorry, say it again.
I'm sorry. And what's before us tonight? Is it for the system or the cameras?
It's no, we already have all the cameras. It's to expand the system into all the schools.
It's the software and the hardware, Nikki. It's the software and the hardware for the ambient AI to be connected to the schools where they already have the cameras existing.
No, I'm just asking because right before a couple of months ago, we voted on getting new cameras in certain schools. And I'm asking, are they, compatible? Are they going to be working with this system, or do we got to go back and look at those cameras? That's why I asked that question.
No, that's a great question. No, it works with the system we currently have. There's no new camera purchases or anything like that we have to, as far as like actual physical hardware. But this is computer software that's cloud-based, and we piloted it at 2 high schools, and now we're looking to expand it into all the schools.
Any other questions? Ms. Dunn?
Who monitors it? So if a basketball game goes long and there's kids at 11 o'clock at night out there, who's alerted to that and how is that managed?
So one of the things that I've been only in on this for a couple months. One of the things we've been doing is, we have a meeting bi-weekly with the vendor and who's been absolutely wonderful. And we've been refining the system, through this pilot just to track stuff like that. Cause it's very sensitive and it's extremely accurate, to the point where you get alerts sometimes for things that, most of 99% of what you get are not emergencies or anything that you're actually looking for. So we've been refining it. You can set times. There's different ways to do it. And it would depend on the school and it would depend on the situation because it's going to be customized to each location. As far as specifics go, that's something I can, would be happy to share, not in a public forum, because it is a matter of security. But just to answer your question, it can be refined to very specific things and be sent to very specific people within the school.
So my question is, we have staff that are that if something comes up, that they will be going out to doing that in real time rather than the next morning. Is that the benefit of it, that we can address things quickly?
I think it would depend on the emergency that you're talking about. Obviously one of them, just as an example, is smoke and fire. If, when the schools are closed down for the night, if, smoke and fire is detected, the, appropriate people would get the alert to that. Or if somebody, say, broke into a school, there would be an immediate alert about that. That would go to, the appropriate people.
Well, that exists already. If there's a fire alarm goes off in the departments. I'm just trying to figure out staffing, what the implications are for staffing, because obviously, yes, police and fire are called if there's a smoke alarm, if there's a break-in. We do have alarm systems that alert somebody, I assume the police department, what kind of staffing would we need to increase as a result of this? Or expanding the scope of somebody's job? That's kind of what I'm asking.
So it's, I mean, the same people who are responding to an emergencies are still responding to emergencies. All the ambient AI does is just gets the alert to the appropriate people faster. It doesn't change any staffing issue.
So in other words, if it's the fire department that's going to come, the fire department's going to come a little faster. The police need to come, the police are going to come a little faster.
So they're gonna be monitoring if somebody's on the grounds that shouldn't be.
The appropriate people will be notified of the same way it's always been, will be notified of the appropriate emergency, if that answers your question.
Here, John, if you don't mind, I can expand on that for you real quick.
Yeah, go ahead. Thank you.
So as John mentioned, the monitoring system is 24 hours a day. At different points in the day, people will be notified. So during our school day, all of our security guards have texts and email alerts, as well as our administrators, and they're on all of the alerts. For the higher level alerts, we then have some central office staff on those. So the fire and smoke, to your point, we do have fire alarms and intruder detection systems. This also picks up things on the outside of the buildings as well. So if there's smoke and fire. Now, the beauty about this system is when these alerts come in, regardless of what time of day it is, all the end users have the opportunity to pull up the exact camera angle that picked up the threat and investigate whether we're on campus or not. I know there was a question about Ms. Ayers asked about the connectivity to first responders. We are currently working with the police department and 911 dispatch to include them on the higher level alerts, the smoke and fire, the weapons and firearm detection. So those are all things that we're already planning to, that are in place at the high schools. A lot of that depends on the particular threat alert that's picked up, but we do have a top to bottom notification tree for both during the school day as well as after hours.
So Ryan, if this was not passed, I'm not suggesting that we don't,
Mhm.
it's not passed, what are we missing that we don't already have in place? That we wanna expend more money or more manpower for specifically?
Right. So, yep, as Ms. Ayers mentioned earlier, the last few years we've been investing heavily, several $100,000 into our camera systems. So currently over the district we have over 1,000 camera views, and this is this is providing us a ton of 24-hour data out of all of our buildings. Currently, if we're just using our camera systems, a lot of that data is required to be processed by people looking at the cameras, right? So of course we could use them investigatively after the fact. If we have the particular camera angles up at or viewpoints at a particular time, we can see things after notification. The beauty about this is it is our notification. So it's really maximizing the system that we have in place. I think that any of us could make the argument that we need more police and that we could use more SRO support in school, and they've been fantastic, more guards. This is really maximizing what we already have in place without needing bodies. And it's the most efficient way to manage the current systems we already have in place. Depending on the schools, again, without going too much detail, depending on the schools, we have targeted areas. There's a ton of data out there about timing of day in which area particular threats could potentially occur. That's different at both the elementary, middle, and high school levels. So we're using all this data to position this AI to be, again, 24-hour monitoring, and actually is our notification system rather than being reactive or investigatory or hoping that somebody's actually looking at this camera angle when something's happening.
Okay. Thank you, Ryan.
Yep.
Any other questions or comments? All right, let's take a vote. All in favor, please raise your hand. All right, opposed? Abstentions? That is unanimous. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, man. Good night.
Moving on to the next item, F, Authorized to rescind Common Council action of January 7th, 2025, item 7124, which authorized the execution of agreements with Energy Resources USA, LLC, and Eversource Energy for LED lighting retrofits at Norwalk City Hall, Norwalk Health Department, Nathaniel Ely Center, and Roosevelt Center. Will someone move the item? Mr. Freyer, thank you. Apparently what happened here is Energy Resources declined to move forward with the project, and so we went with the next bidder, and that was we will get to. We'll get to in our next items. So they declined to move forward. So that is why we have to rescind this. So are there any questions? All right, all in favor, please raise your hand. Approving that. All right, opposed? No. Okay. Okay. Okay, that passes unanimously. And now we will move on to did you want to say a few words about that, Alan, before? And I'm going to read all the rest. I'm going to read all the rest together.
Yeah, if you can read the other,
right.
that'd be great. Thank you.
Okay. All right, so I'll be reading G, H, I, J together. All right. G, authorize the mayor, Harry W. Rilling, to execute an agreement with Tri-State LED to provide LED lighting retrofit services at City Hall for a total not to exceed $282,138. That's $268,703.57 plus 5% contingency payment to be made via Eversource incentives and on-bill financing. Authorize the mayor, Harry W. Rilling, to execute any and all documents with Eversource Energy to apply and accept energy efficient upgrade incentives and financing through Eversource on-bill financing program for the City Hall LED lighting retrofit project. H, authorize the mayor, Harry W. Rilling, to execute an agreement with Tri-State LED to provide LED lighting retrofit services at the Norwalk Health Department for a total not to exceed $73,175, $69,690.05 plus 5% contingency, payment to be made via Eversource incentives and on-bill financing. Authorize the mayor, Harry W. Rilling, to execute any and all documents with Eversource Energy to apply and accept energy efficient upgrade incentives and financing through Eversource on-bill financing program for the Norwalk Health Department LED lighting retrofit project. I, authorize the mayor, Harry W. Rilling, to execute an agreement with Tri-State LED to provide LED lighting retrofit services at the Nathaniel Ely Center for a total not to exceed $86,975, $82,833.77 plus 5% contingency payment to be made via Eversource incentives and on-bill financing. Authorize the mayor, Harry W. Rilling, to execute any and all documents with Eversource Energy to apply and accept energy efficient upgrade incentives and financing through Eversource on-bill financing program for the Nathaniel Ely Center LED lighting retrofit project. And J, authorize the mayor, Harry W. Rilling, to execute an agreement with Tri-State LED to provide LED lighting retrofit services at the Roosevelt Senior Center for a cost not to exceed $47,898, $45,617.86 plus 5% contingency. Payment to be made via Eversource incentives and on-bill financing. Authorize the mayor, Harry W. Rilling, to execute any and all documents with Eversource Energy to apply and accept energy efficient upgrade incentives and financing through Eversource on-bill financing program for the Roosevelt LED lighting retrofit project. Will someone please move those items? Mr. Burnett, thank you very much. All right, Alan, you want to just...
Yeah, very quickly. We've been hearing for the last couple of years that the Eversource incentive program maybe I would say, I guess the word is changing, diminishing. And so we were trying to get as quick as we can to try to get these retrofit lighting, LED lighting retrofit project in line. Our process takes a long time. This project started in terms of went up an RFP. It wasn't a straight bidding process. It's really an RFP process. And we have selected a company after interview process, selected a company to implement these projects. However, the last few months, enough that this company cannot come through because of some of the requirement. We require state wages to do these projects, require bonding and on stuff. So as they realized they couldn't do this project, so they backed out. So we're moving away from them. That's what the action that the committee approved to rescind previous action, so we can move forward to the second group that we interviewed. The way this project, these 4 projects works is that there's no capital outlay by the city. So Eversource, who's the utility electrical provider for us for those 4 buildings, will be giving us an incentive amount, and the balance of the cost is based on bill financing, which means that they project how much saving we will have every month, and they use that money to pay for the capital cost. So basically, it's a 0% loan. And then we'll pay for that loan and debt service through our normal billing process. So that the money we save, we'll use it for pay back the loan. So after, let's say, 4 years, 5 years, we'll break even, and then at that point, we're actually saving the energy savings at that point after the debt service on the installation was paid up. So again, there's no capital outlay. It's just for incentive money as well as operating expenses, paying Eversource a 0% interest. That's
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you.
Questions? All righty. All in favor, please raise your hand. All right, that's unanimous. Thank you very much. And we are now moving on to item K. Authorize the purchasing agent to amend the purchase order to Total Communications State Contract 18PSX0202 for the TE01 LAN network switches for the South Norwalk Elementary School for a revised total sum of $169,831.66. Funds are available in account number noted. Will someone move that, please? Mr. Freyer. So,
Dan
yeah,
will be presenting this item.
Yeah.
Dan?
Go ahead. Go ahead, Dan. Thank you.
I'll give you a quick rundown. So back in February of this year, we brought the technology package to the Land Use Committee for approval. At the time, the backup to the approval had the correct value, but our cover sheet and the approval for the authorization was off a typo by $7,000. The approval was for $162,000 and $162,831.66, while the actual value of the contract was $169,831.66. At the time, we had also approved an $8,000 contingency, and it was critical to the project to continue forward with them. There were no changes that we were aware of at the time or would potentially encounter. So we spoke to the purchasing agent and we proceeded with the increase from the approved value using the contingency approved. And recently, through conversation and request from the Director of Technology and Board of Ed, there were some changes, some cabling changes, spare equipment that's required in the building. And we received a $4,700 change order for the project, which normally would have been covered under our contingency. And that's why we carry it. But unfortunately, we had the incorrect value on the original approval. And so what we're presenting today is amending the previous approval for the correct value based on the backup, and then using the which would replenish our contingency and allow us to fund that change order from the contingency that was previously approved.
Questions? It from the backup, it appears you're going to have $1,000 left in the for future change orders?
So after we replenish the contingents or amend the contract value to the correct value, we will have roughly $3,000 and a couple $100. It's a $4,700 change order, if I remember correctly. So there would be $3,300 remaining in contingency after the contract value is amended.
Basically, this is a technical correction for the amount that originally was approved. It should be a few $1,000s more, and we use contingency to cover the difference all along. But since we do have change order, we need to replenish that money. So basically, all we're asking about is $4,000 or $5,000. That's all we're asking for.
All right.
And it's a technical correction to adjust it.
All right, thank you. Thank you. That helps clarify for me. All right, any other questions? All right, seeing none, all in favor, raise your hand. All right, that's unanimous. And that is the end of our action items. And now we have our monthly update of school construction projects that are coming along. And
All right, let me
excited about.
share my screen quickly. Can you see the presentation?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so we'll jump into the South Norwalk Elementary School. So right now, site finishes are ongoing. The asphalt top coat, part of that was completed today that was the main parent drop-off loop. The main parking lot on the south side of the building already has the top coat down. They striped it earlier this week. So all the parking spaces, the handicap parking, EV parking has all been designated. Tomorrow they will continue with the top coat on the pre-K kindergarten drop-off, which is off of Oxford Street. The playground equipment installation is started this week, so that's ongoing. The paving, sidewalks, and other hardscapes, handrails on that sidewalk up to the field, up above the back of the school, are majority been installed at this point. As far as interior finishes, there's a number of classrooms that have been completed and final cleaned. We have furniture deliveries started on July 21st. About 95% of the furniture is on site. They're continuing through the end of the week, assembling desks, arranging chairs. All of the administration furniture has been delivered and installed. The contents from the existing school, the move took place earlier this week, Monday and Tuesday. So all of the contents are in the building. We have a small crew of the administration and a few helpers that will be starting in the building next week to start to arrange the main office area, anticipating teachers coming back on the 18th the following week, and all teachers reporting for convocation on the 20th. And I can go through a few photos. We're a little further along than these photos show because we need to get these updates out and distributed earlier. So right here is the main stair. We have the railings in place, the stair treads, the flooring. They're completing some odds and ends at this point in this area. See the wall protection, the different colors along the stair from that work. It would jump to the next page. This is the main entrance to the right here. At this point, the underside is completed. They're completing the trim on the outside edge. This is the parent drop-off loop that I was talking about, the binder coat was down in this photo a few weeks ago, and the top coat went in today. Landscaping, spreading topsoil for planting. And this, we're jumping over to the pre-K kindergarten drop-off, and this is the bus loop. On this side, most of this top coat was in place. They were finishing a section tomorrow over where this car is parked. To the right here is the playground equipment, which is now being installed in the back of the school. This canopy, the underside, I believe is complete at this point. Jumping inside the school, the gym floor is down, the overhead work is complete, the hoops and mechanicals and painting. In the background here, we have the partition between the cafeteria and the gym. On the floor is the graphics that have been installed since this photo was taken on the backside. And also the gym, the last week or so, they have been finishing and painting the gym with the striping and the painting. That is, I believe, to be complete, so we can be on that floor as early as this Friday. So the photo is a little behind, but just a sample of some of the office furniture that has been installed. This is one of the administration offices, and that's what we have for the South Norwalk Elementary School update.
I believe the building department is be out there, code enforcement be out there either today or tomorrow. Today or tomorrow to do the plumbing and electrical final inspection, and Bill Allen is supposed to be on site on Friday to consider the issuance of a conditional certificate of occupancy. So potentially by either this Friday or early next week, we will have a certificate of occupancy for the use of the building. So we are on schedule to open. And I think this question probably Greg will probably ask us.
I'm getting ready. I'm getting ready.
Dan, can you go back one page? A couple of pages to the initial page.
Yep.
Something that Greg always asks.
On time and under budget.
Balance to be determined. I have looked at. Is that what you'd be looking? You always ask this question. I did some calculation probably about 2 weeks ago, and there's significant funds available at the end of this. So we will be providing, so financial, we're doing very well. So that's the bottom line. But the amount is, I will probably be able to provide you with that number roughly by next meeting. So we will insert a number into those to be determined. The one thing that will trigger the little bit of consideration when I put that number together is I'm still looking at the possibility of doing rooftop solar, but it's a complicated evaluation, and whether it will be we have to do under capital side, but we have requested the state for consideration to include rooftop solar as part of this project so that we reimbursable, but they haven't given us a determination. If they do not, the financial aspect of putting a rooftop solar, it's almost impossible. But if they are willing to accept the rooftop solar as part of the state project, then we get 60% reimbursement, and financially, there's a very good possibility it will work out. If we don't get that, that we don't get an inclusion into the project, the financial aspect is it's probably like $800,000 to put a solar panel. It's very, very unlikely that it will work out financially. If we don't get accepted by the state for inclusion into the project. So because of the reimbursement rate is 60%. Because this project would not get any federal tax credit, and there's also no incentive from the utility company. So it's 100% capital cost for the city. So if if the state doesn't provide 60% reimbursement, then the number will never work. So that's where we are now. So we're waiting for a response from the state right now. anyway, so we will provide a number in terms of financial status for next month's meeting. So you will see some numbers over there. That's all. Thank you.
All right, if there's no other questions for South Norwalk, we will jump to the Norwalk High School P-TECH project. Underground utility work is ongoing in Calvin Murphy Drive. This is scheduled to conclude by before the 18th of August. So it will be reopened for teachers to return the week before students. As far as the building progress, there's a lot to talk about in the different areas. So it's more of a general overview, but steel erection, stairs, decking, and detailing is ongoing as we work our way across the building. There's cold form metal framing going up in the areas where the structure has been completed. There's exterior sheathing that's gone up. We've started to install the brick veneer in a few areas, and we'll look at a couple of photos of that. As far as the interior work, there are interior masonry walls being completed, mostly around utility spaces, stairwells, bathrooms, where there's wet walls, and that's ongoing. We have interior framing for corridors going up. You'll see in a few of the photos the top of wall sheetrock that goes in before the overhead MEPs, which are being roughed in. The hangers are being installed. We do see some of the MEPs going in at this point. And as they continue to deck and complete areas of the building, the roofing is being installed, creating a space that won't see water from rain, and they can continue with a lot of the interior work there. The steel topping out ceremony is scheduled for next week, August 14th. This signifies the completion of the structural steel. This was, I know that traditionally it's one of the last beams that go up. It is near the end of steel erection, but we will continue and be complete within the month of August, I anticipate, with the steel erection. And that's taking place over here in the Narragansett Field. And the beam is being placed somewhere on this side, which is the auxiliary gym with the locker rooms. And this is the main gym over here. And the building is scheduled to be completed fall of 2027 for students to return to school that year. And after that, the new building is turned over. We'll transition to demolition of the existing building and site development, which is the parking lots, the football field, tennis courts, field house, concession stand, as well as completing the multi-use field, which is located over on the Narragansett side of the property. And I'll jump into a few photos. This section of the building, we see our cold form metal framing in the background here. Here's our sheathing being installed, blocking around the windows, wood blocking. This is the, on the right is the media center up above. To the left, this is the Norwalk High School wing. This is the, as you go up Calvin Murphy into the school property as you normally would, just to the left, this is this closest corner to the entrance to the construction site from the high school side. You see the scaffolding installed, brick veneer in progress, air vapor barrier installed up above where they're completing their work, and they're starting to work their way. They've made much more progress than what's shown in these photos at this point. Here's just another photo of that brick veneer just starting a few weeks ago. Not the actual building, but there is a mock-up on site. This is where they install the approved materials, evaluate the transitions between the different materials, what they look like, the installation technique. And this is something that the architect comes out, reviews, and approves before they continue installing these different products on the building. But shows a little bit of the finishes. Here's the auditorium area, the metal decking, the roof, shows the upper seating. Here is the crane working its way out of, in the background here would be the center commons area. This is actually the locker room area with the auxiliary gym would be erected above this. So this photo is a little more recent than that drone image that we looked at on the first slide. And from this position, Narragansett would be to our back. Interior masonry walls going up, fireproofing installed now that we have roofing to prevent anything from getting wet. What I was talking about before, the top of wall being installed, fire stop closed, some duct being installed, covered, as you can see with the blue plastic to make sure that all ductwork remains clean throughout the project. And that's what we have for the Norwalk High School update.
Thanks, Dan. Mr. Burnett.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Just a quick question. Have you experienced any challenges with such a massive project as Norwalk High? I'm sure if you have, you've addressed them, but I'm just curious if you experienced any challenges with this project.
One challenge that comes to mind that I think we might have brought up at a previous meeting, we may not have, but with there being multiple buildings and sequences to the steel erection, there was some scheduling and coordination between submittal approvals, releasing a building, getting the steel on site, moving from one building to the next building with the crane on site. We did have conversations with the construction manager, and we did find workarounds to maintain the schedule through the erection. But it's with that many sequences and the different, basically 7 buildings in order, with their own set of shop drawings and approvals and fabrication and release to finish one section and move directly into the next one. There were some complications there, but right now we're on schedule. We've worked through those challenges, and other than that, I can't really think of anything else, but that would tie back to the size of the building and one of the things that we've encountered here that we don't really see on the smaller buildings.
I think the other some challenges we have is really because the project is multiple years. I mean, since the original, when we were out to bid certain package, we didn't bid out because it's too early. I think for me, from a management of total project management perspective, it's just that from day one, we have a dollar amount for guaranteed maximum price, but the other bidding that happened, as you know, we just a month ago, we actually approved the demolition of the building kind of thing, and so the total project cost is still not fully developed because we haven't bid out everything. So that's one of the mental challenge I have, because I always want to do this project when I submit a common council for guaranteed maximum, it's total project called completed. But because it's a multi-year, multi-phase kind of project, it's much harder to like how much the final cost. It's really don't know until we start bidding it and bidding it at a later time kind of thing. So fundamentally, it's a little challenge for me mentally, because we can give the council the general idea this is going to be how much the project is going to that much money, but the ultimately is when we go out to bid, it's just like the demolition of the building, like a year later, 2 years later, we haven't bid out FF&E yet. So I think that's a challenge that we have, and it's not neat and tidy to the point that I would like, but at the same time, it is nature of a multi-year project that that we don't have the ability to say this is the number and this is defined kind of thing. We're still evolving a little bit. So, but majority of it, so I don't want to sound like it's a risky business here, but at the same time, it's like 80% of this, 90% of this is defined already. It's just the balance of like 5 to 8% that we still like up in the air a little bit. So that's my challenge.
Any other questions? All right. Thank you, Dan.
All right. Alan, I don't know if you want to talk through the HVAC upgrades, or I know a little bit about it recently, so I could.
We are just very quickly. I know it's getting late already. We are working on all 5 projects. It's a total of 6 projects. One project that I think I mentioned previously on last meeting or whatever it was, Marvin School. We have to go out rebid, so we are looking to rebid it in September, October, and get the bids number in to see where we are. But we are moving significantly on Rowayton School and also on Silvermine School because we have boiler replacement project. We need to get it done. We actually have pre-ordered the boilers and stuff, and then it actually helped us because so we are on schedule to finish the 2 boiler rooms for those 2 schools. And Brookside is coming along very well, and we actually installed new units. I think 3 rooftop unit yesterday. And we will be doing second shift work once the school open for the other 4 units. Now make it a little more challenging because all the approval process in terms of a submittal and stuff like that. So there's not much happening there, but there are things planned, and we are looking to do abatement next couple of weeks to get it started. And what's the other one? And Brian McMahon, we're working on it in the sense that most of the work is actually outside the loading dock area. So we corded it off, and we're going to start excavation of the. We got to remove 2 underground oil tank first, and on and on. So there'll be continued throughout the school year. So all these projects are active. Some a little more than others. And again, the Narrow Mix, the one that a little behind in terms of activity wise. But we are actively managing the startup process. So you don't see a lot of work there, but because for different reasons, it's not moving as fast. But we are on top of it. So that's about it.
Thanks, Alan. Mr. Frayer.
Alan, at McMahon, is there some kind of generator that's running all the time over there?
Yeah, it's not generated. It's nothing to do with our construction project. Brian McMahon air conditioning chiller failed again. I mean, I think a year ago or 2 years ago, the system went down, and it cost quite a bit of money and get parts for it to replace. It takes a while, and Bill Hodel actually went out and got a rebuilt compressor, I think it was. But meanwhile, what they have there now is a temporary chilling unit on a trailer. So that's running right now to cool the building throughout the summer. It is a noisy. When you get a portable chiller to bring to site, it's noisy. It bounces off the building somewhat too. So I think we have 1 complaint so far. And what Bill Hodel did is they adjust the hour operation. It's really kind of emergency basis, right? We don't have air conditioning. We need to bring this in, and what he did was he set the timer on that unit to run from 6 to 6, I believe. Don't quote me on this. Instead of running all night and stuff like that, so that during the 6 to 6, so that it doesn't minimize the impact on neighbors. So I think there's
6 a.m. to 6 p.m. or
Yeah.
6 p.m. to 6 a.m.
No. 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. during daytime hours.
Okay.
So
Because there's a whole bunch of them that live behind there that are all complaining about it.
Okay, I think I heard there's 1 complaint, and it doesn't come to me. It go to Bill, but we adjust the schedule. Hopefully, it doesn't affect people in the evening, and well, it shouldn't affect people in the evening and nighttime, right?
But
So
does
during
it run
daytime,
during
it
the
makes
week?
noise. It is
Does it
what
work?
it is for us.
Is it also on the weekends too?
I don't know that. I can't answer that question. So let me find out. I can email you. But at the same time, as the weather get cooler, I think it's going to stop soon. because, you know, after probably second week of September, we probably can wind back even a little further.
It's been going on all summer long.
Yeah, it has. It's probably been about 3 weeks now. They've been running.
More and more important to have central air put in.
Well, if it's in your house, it's fine.
Yeah. No, in the school. That's what we're fixing.
No, I understand it. It's just that it's annoying to all the people that
I'm sure.
are very upset about it.
But I think Bill has done what he can to minimize the impact to the extent that, you know, again, shutting off the 6 o'clock at night, so people, if they want to eat outside in the backyard or patio kind of thing, it's a little less of an issue. But at the same time, we have to run it. There's really no choices here, unless we not have summer program.
That's what I figured. And that's what I told them. I said, well, it's only temporary. It'll be over soon.
Yeah. So our project right now for Brian McMahon is actually timely. The reason being is that, in fact, we have a conversation today. We are going to be ordering the new chillers, and they're going to be installed in the loading dock area. But we believe that they're going to be delivered in probably March of next year, and our goal is get it installed before next summer, so we don't have to rent these units again next summer. It's cost about $200,000 to rent it for the summer, so it's not a chump change.
Yeah.
Is that proper English?
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, it'll be good to have that done. Definitely
Yeah.
good.
So I think anyway, so that's where we are. So then I'll let you know. I'll give you an email to let you know that whether I think we have to run it on weekend. I'm thinking that we have to run it weekend, because when it's summertime, when you don't run mechanical unit, you build up moisture in the building. Humidity is a problem. I don't think 2 days on the weekend will create mold issue kind of thing, but keep maintaining, because running air conditioning actually takes out the moisture in the building. There's a humidity control somewhat.
Yeah.
We don't run it. I think that there is a potential of you got humidity level going high over the weekend in the building. So I think that's a potential reason why we want to run it in the weekends. But again, we can keep it as short as possible.
Yeah, is it possible maybe even just to give them 1 day over the weekend that they can turn them off?
Yeah, let me talk to Bill about it. Again, we are
Okay.
sensitive to those issues. It's not like we are, you know, well, not we, but Bill is unaware of it, and he's trying to do whatever we can to manage this neighbor sensitivity kind of thing. So let me talk to him about it, and I'll email you so that you have an understanding what we can and cannot do.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Sure.
Okay. Anything else before we say goodnight? All right. Thank you, everyone. I will call for a motion to adjourn. Mr. Burnett gets it. All right. All in favor? All right. Very good. Thank you all very much. Have a good night.
Thank you.